Yes, I can't believe the news. He was evicted. This is great, right? Okay, I'll catch you later. I've got to go celebrate. I'll call you back later. Brent has left the Big Brother house. Oh, I'm recording. Oh, I'm just kidding, guys. What's up, everyone? A brand new head of household has been crowned, and if you haven't guessed, Brent has been evicted from the Big Brother house. We've got so much to talk about, guys, so welcome to your live feed update. Okay, folks, first things first, I'm going to throw it to you. Okay, so with Brent being evicted and the new HOH is Christian, who would you like to see targeted this week? Of course, we are going to discuss through who his targets are, because it's hard to bracket it as one target right now. You'll find this out later. But basically, I'd love to hear who you would like to see basically just be evicted from the Big Brother house this week now that Christian is the head of household. Please let me know in the comment section below. Straight away, we saw Big D telling Alyssa, actually, pause, Big D, let's give him a little shout out for all of his phrases that he's came up with in the diary room so far. I mean, I didn't even plan to talk about this, but just thinking about this. I mean, he has given Dina Lohan a run for her money on Celebrity Big Brother. You know, I think he said, I evict to evote. I sadly cast evote to. I could be making that up, but basically it's near enough that. There's been so many and it's becoming hilarious. I was even tweeting about it last night when the show was on. I keep thinking, I wish someone would tell Big D how to cast a vote properly. But then after last night, I thought to myself, do you know what? No, nobody tell him how to vote, because it's just creating hilarious entertainment every single week. When he goes to the diary room and he's basically saying, vote, I sadly cast to evict, or something along those lines. I'm very much looking forward to seeing what we have in the future. But anyway, back to what we were actually talking about. Big D was talking to Alyssa, saying that he's worried that the Jokers are going to have another week of becoming the pawns of the season. But Alyssa, as a member of the Kings, and obviously very brother and sister like relationship with Christian, or so called as they say, she would obviously know that they are not in jeopardy this week. So she basically said, I don't think you've got anything to worry about, and I think Big D felt a bit better about that. But you know, I think with Christian in charge, it's essentially Christian and Alyssa in charge, who are a showman, so it doesn't even make sense that they continue to call themselves brother and sister. Sometimes it's kind of weird, but yeah, I mean, Alyssa would obviously know, so I would say Brittany is probably going to get a week off the block this week, which I think, and I'm hoping, will help her get her head back in the game and focus on the larger sort of size of the game rather than just, oh no, I'm a pawn on the block this week, and her feeling really bad about it. But I was, honestly, I mean, I know a lot of people aren't a Brittany fan now, but for me, like, I'm the sort of person, I want to give her the benefit of the doubt, because we don't know what it's like to be in that house. I don't care what anyone ever says. We don't know what it's like ever to be in somebody else's shoes. I mean, yes, you might have had the same situation as someone, but you aren't that person. And everybody deals with different situations very differently. So you can't necessarily just maul Brittany and say, oh, Brittany's bad because she cries all the time. You're like, listen, right? She might, but that's Brittany's way of coping in there. We do it very differently. You know, every single person do it very differently. Some people might be absolutely fine with it. You know, we've seen all different types of house guests over the years. People who are a lot more emotional than others. If you put Evil Dick in there, you know, he's not gonna go on like that. But Brittany's a different person. Doesn't mean she's a worse person or a better person. It's just that's Brittany's way of dealing with it. So I was honestly so happy to see Brittany in good spirits last night. You know, when she wasn't evicted, I saw her talking to the camera saying, oh, I'm back, America, and she had so much energy, and I was so happy for her. Really, it's awesome to see people happy, and that's what Brittany was last night, so I was stoked to see her in good spirits. I really was. A few people were actually discussing the fact that Sarah Beth should be credited with Christian's head of household win, which I kind of agree with. We saw them do the surf puzzle, and whilst the camera was all over the place, it was hard to follow. And even when Christian won the head of household competition, I think the camera was on a different team for a good 10 seconds until they went over to Christian. Sarah Beth was bossing that puzzle. Alyssa and Christian weren't adding much to it. It happened to be the case of Sarah Beth finished the majority of the puzzle, but Christian got to put the last puzzle piece on, thus he was head of household. So really, I think Sarah Beth had tactically, I think she tried to go towards the end as well, even though she'd done the majority of the puzzle. She tried to go towards the end because she wanted to be the last person to put it on, but because the time was so tight, I think she wanted to get back just in time. And then Christian went and did it, which I don't think she was mad at, but I think Sarah Beth was the one who really was to thank for Christian's head of household win. Not discrediting Christian at all, because the rules are the rules. The last person to put it on was going to be given head of household, but I will give a massive round of applause to Sarah Beth, because credit is due where credit is due. Now, as it is Friday, that means that the wildcard competition will be played today, and also the nominations will also take place later in the day after the wildcard comp. And the wildcard comp, of course, is going to throw a monkey wrench in the works for whatever plan Christian wants to do, because competing in the wildcard comp this week will be Claire for the Queens, Whitney will be competing for the Aces, and then for the Jokers, it's going to be a toss-up between Arza and Big D. They will either leave it up to fate and see, who it lands on, or they will obviously put someone forwards. I would imagine both of them will want to compete, because I think both are kind of worried about the Jokers being the pawns this week, even though they're probably not going to be. I think they're both worried, so they'll probably both put their name forwards. But if Whitney wins this wildcard competition, and we don't even know what the twist is going to be. I saw earlier in the week Tiffany and Claire discussing whatever the twist of winning this week. It's going to be something that you are probably not going to be able to refuse, because it's week 4 and because only one of the temptations has been taken so far, or one of the wildcard comp people have taken safety so far. I would say, to ensure that the twist isn't necessarily I don't like using the word flop, but a flop, I would imagine that the house guests will be offered something quite big, quite mega, that's going to make them go, we need to take this. And 2, especially with the team's twist ending after this week, it would probably make sense just to go, okay, well, I'll take whatever it is, but obviously we don't know what it is yet. I would imagine, though, Whitney does need to win this, or she's very likely going to be targeted this week. I mean, because straight away, Christian has decided, he said, and we'd seen this before, he even won head of household, Hannah and Whitney are going to be the people on the block this week. So if Whitney can win this, then it's going to throw a total monkey wrench in the works, because with Hannah on the block, it doesn't necessarily still mean she's the target, because the cookout, who are the cookout plus Hannah, kind of, Hannah isn't officially in the cookout, she is just associated with the group. They will, she knows the people in the cookout though, but she only found out the name of the cookout from Arza, who spilled it yesterday or the day before. But they have the numbers to keep Hannah, so no matter if she's in the block, they're going to keep her around. Obviously, that's going to... The power dynamics are going to be crazy there, because with Xavier being on Christian's team, Christian's going to expect him to stay loyal to him, but Xavier obviously will want to save Hannah, and with Hannah being the second person after Whitney on the block, that's probably going to be Christian's target, so it's going to throw so much peril if Whitney wins and accepts safety. It's just really exciting to theorise what could happen this week. But then again, though, Claire has proven she's quite good at competitions, having won the team captains one on night 1. Big D and Arza haven't really proven themselves in competitions before, so I would expect the winner to either be one of the 2 team captains, Claire or Whitney, and it's very exciting to theorise who it could be. Now, all this discussion of the wild card started going around later in the evening, and even though Arza and Derek F, I think, both kind of wanted to compete, Derek F kind of compromised and said, Arza, I think you stand a better chance at beating Claire and Whitney, so I think you should go for it. And then talking in the HOH room with Christian and his team, sort of discussing how if Whitney gets some sort of temptation, they theorise that it could be you can take safety for your whole team for some sort of thing, then obviously Hannah couldn't even be put up on the block at that point, because that's all the aces safe. And then he said that in that case, that the nominees would have to be Arza and Brittany. Okay, so that would probably mean the end of Brittany if that was to happen this week, because Arza would have the cookout numbers to save her. It is very interesting what is going to happen this week. It's so crazy. To hear Christian say Arza and Brittany as his nominees, I am kind of disappointed. I am happy in a way that my favourites aren't getting targeted, because I think the Queen's team are fantastic. They are top-notch players and strategists. I just love watching them. But game-wise, it makes total sense to get rid of, or put a split probably in the Queens, because they are extremely tight. So Christian is kind of doing the not ruffle many feathers sort of move by putting Arza and Brittany on the... Poor Brittany. I mean, she's been on week after week, and I know it's Big Brother, you got to expect it, but... Jeez, I mean, it's not exactly a move where you're going, I'm the head of household and I'm gonna do something that's really impressive and show off what an incredible player I am by putting Brittany and Arza on the block. It's not a move. It's a poor excuse of a move. But I guess sometimes we've got to remember you're playing chess, not checkers, so you can't make just big moves in one. It's all about strategy and playing the long game. So I guess there's always a reason for whatever you're doing, unless Frenchie's the head of household. I'm joking. But Frenchie brought us entertainment, I'll give him that. But I don't know, it's just, there's so many different scenarios this week, because I think, Julie said it best when the show was on last night. The targets have been so obvious every single week so far. It's kind of been like, bosh, bosh, bosh. And now it's kind of like, ooh, and it really feels like who's it going to be this week, especially with the wildcard comp. I think we'll have a much clearer view on what's going to happen, or as clear as possible view of what's going to happen after the wildcard competition is revealed. And also, what the hell's the twist going to be? Because that is obviously going to throw a monkey wrench in the works if it offers safety to more than one person, or even just Whitney. That was pretty much all the game talk for the night. It's becoming a trend this season where the head of household doesn't want to talk game on night one, or the first night that they are head of household, so it usually initiates on the next day. But that creates always just a rush of strategy adrenaline on Fridays, because we've got the wild card and the nominations and game talk just like bosh, bosh, bosh. So it really does all fit into one, but it makes Fridays all worth the more. Fridays are great as it is anyway, but it just creates a great Big Brother day for us as well. So happy Friday to all my fellow Big Brother fans. That is all of your live feed updates for today, folks. I thoroughly hope you all enjoyed watching. Please let me know your thoughts on Brent being evicted from the Big Brother house and Christian becoming the new head of household. Who do you think he's going to target? Who do you want him to target? Who would you like to leave the Big Brother house this week? There is so much to talk about, guys. So let me know in the comment section below. I'm going to give another quick, I did this yesterday, but I'm going to give a quick shout out to a new video that I made as well. I put so much effort into this one. It's the top 10 players who should have been on Big Brother 22 All-Stars. Very different to my normal video. It's more sort of documentary sort of style, but it's a lot of fun. I know documentary sounds like, depends what kind of person you are. You might go, oh, that's boring, or you might go, oh, I like a documentary. Either way, it's a fun documentary. Please check it out, guys. I'd really appreciate if you could share that on social media and like it and just do all of that amazing stuff. But guys, make sure that you're staying safe, staying positive, and staying healthy out there. I appreciate every single last one of you for watching all the time. Remember to be kind to one another. But in the meantime, please don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. But until your next live feed update, I've been your host, Tom Vasey. Good night.